Hello, Ryan here from Indy Wrestling School, and today we're talking about booking an independent professional wrestling show from start to finish. Coming up. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Ryan here for Indy Wrestling School. One of the things I've wanted to talk about since I started this channel was booking an independent wrestling show from start to finish. And this is not a complete coverall of everything you're gonna need. These are just some things off the top of my head that I think are very important. The first being communication. That goes to communicating to the fans, with the building, to any vendors, especially to the talent. You can never communicate too much. Look, I'd rather be annoying and give too much information than have somebody no-show because I failed to explain myself correctly. Look, when fans are coming to the show, they might be paying to see a specific wrestler. If I failed to get that wrestler there because of my lack of communication, that's a big problem for me. So I always go to the extreme with communication. I book the talent. I usually will follow up with a text, email, whatever, and I'll just keep talking to them. I follow up a couple days before the show to make sure everything's good to go. If there's any changes, we'll make them then and there. Especially when you're talking with some of the names in the business, because they have so many bookings, so many obligations. A lot of times they're doing multiple shows in a night. So I always like to let them know, hey, we're still good for this date at this time in this venue against this person. I give them more information than they could ever want just to confirm that everything's good. Now let's back up a little bit. When you first talk about doing a show, you need to look at a calendar. You need to determine what shows are running around where I want to run. Where am I gonna run? Any holidays, or is it the holiday weekend, or is there anything local that'll interfere with people potentially coming to my show? Is there a big concert? You know, am I running against Bruce Springsteen? That's a bad idea, right? Am I running against a local promotion who does thousands of fans every month? Don't try to be Eric Bischoff. Don't try to compete with Vince right out of the gate. If you want to build to that, that's one thing. There's enough space for everybody out there, so why compete with somebody when there's plenty of other dates in a month or plenty of other dates in a week, and you could pick a different date. Don't let your ego control when you're gonna book a date. Next thing you want to decide is, how much are you willing to pay for this show? Because that's gonna determine your ticket price. If you look at your card and your lineup and you say, I'm charging this much, but I wouldn't pay more than this, then you might want to consider adjusting your prices. Again, don't let your ego get in the way of common sense, because a lot of times guys will say, well, this guy charges this much. Okay, well that guy is bringing in X, Y, and Z, and you're using all local guys, so is it fair to charge the customer the same price? And I'm not saying you're getting less, because I'm not saying one works harder than the other, but people are willing to pay a little bit more for people they know. I mean, that's fair to say, right? Another important factor is do not overbook the show. The format of a show is so important. To me personally, if you have more than 8 matches, you are doing something wrong. That's just my opinion. But to me personally, I know if a show goes over 2.5 hours, I'm looking at the exit sign. And I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. I love pro wrestling. But there comes a time where the show just starts, I mean, how many times can you see a super kick, right? The show just starts to go on and on. My ideal wrestling show is 2 hours and 15 minutes, 6 or 7 matches at the most. One of the things we get complimented on for our shows is that we start on time. And that seems like such a stupid thing, but there are so many shows that start late, end late, the intermission goes to a half hour. Nobody wants that. The wrestlers don't want that. The fans don't want that. Nobody wants to be a part of a marathon show. It's exhausting. If you say you're starting at 8, start at 8. Intermission, I know it's important for the guys to get out there and sell stuff, but let's be honest. If somebody's not buying something in 10 minutes, another 20 minutes is not gonna make them want to spend money. It's gonna make them want to leave. And if they leave in the middle of the show, why would they come back for the next show? Do not overbook your show. 10 matches is too many. I mean, you're talking, even if it's singles matches, that's 20 guys right there. And odds are there's a couple tags, there's a couple scramble matches, there's a couple three-way matches. So you're looking at a roster of 30 to 40 people for one night of wrestling. That's a huge budget. And that's a long night of wrestling. Think about the little things. Think about where you're gonna put the camera. Think about that in advance so you're not scrambling the day of. Remember little things like extension cords that maybe you're not thinking of right away. Have extra paper, have extra envelopes, have extra cash, most importantly. If there's somebody that you wanna throw on the show last minute who just happens to be there, be ready to do that, because you need to be able to pay that person. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if you put somebody on the show, they deserve to be paid for their efforts. Bring more stuff than you think you need. I would always rather have way too much stuff packed than not enough. Look, if the ring requires 12 turnbuckles, you should have 14 just in case. Confirm with your staff, the people taking the tickets, your ring announcer, your referee, the bell ringer, if you have one. Confirm with everybody leading up to the show. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure everybody has a job to do. Make sure everybody's busy. Make sure everything gets done way earlier than it needs to be. Because you'd always rather have everything done and sit there waiting around for the show to start than scrambling to get everything done before you open the doors. When you're on your way to the arena, as a promoter or the guy setting up or whatever, don't be thinking about anything else other than the task at hand. Don't be rocking out to your favorite songs. Think about it very clearly. When I first get there, I'm gonna do this. After that's done, I'm doing this. I'm gonna have this guy doing this. This way, everything goes smoothly. If something fails, have somebody work on it and continue doing everything else in the meantime. Now, just a side note, this is not including all the promotion and everything leading up to the show. That's a video unto itself as far as posters, promotion, social media, all that stuff. That's gonna be its own side video one day. This is just talking about the day of the show and what needs to get done. Now, as far as what goes where on the show, that's all subjective. For me personally, I can tell you what I like. I like to start off the match or the show with an exciting match. I personally like to start off the show with an exciting match, something that everybody gets into. I know a lot of people like to throw on a match they don't think people are going to care about. I do the opposite. I think of this the second best match on the show I like to put in the opening spot. Ideally, the best match on the show is going to be my main event. I know that's not always the case, but that's, in theory, my goal every time, is the main event is the most important match. It's the match that everybody's gonna remember when they leave, so I want that to be the match of the night. Is that always the case? No. But the second best match on my show is always gonna be in the opening match. I think that sets the tone for the whole night. If you got two guys who know how to interact with the crowd, you're good. You're good to go. And believe it or not, the second match, I usually put what I think is gonna be the worst match of the night or the weakest match of the night, just because I don't think it drops off too badly if you put that there and then you come back strong in your third match. I usually do a tag match, tag title match, something like that. Right there, a triple threat match, whatever you're gonna do, any kind of a gimmick match right there. Then I go to intermission, or I'll do a fourth match if they run into each other, then go to intermission. Come back with maybe the mid-card title match, and then the main event, which is typically your main title, world title match. And that's the format I like to follow, and I can break down specific shows in the future and why I put things where I put them. I mean, there's also things that, and it goes to what kind of show you're running. I know there's guys out there that use a lot of new guys. So typically when you have somebody new, they're selling a lot of tickets. They're getting a lot of people to your show. So maybe you don't want to put them on first. Maybe you want to put them on right before the main event. So all those people they brought don't leave after your first match or during intermission. So you keep that crowd the whole time up until your main event, and then they figure, oh, there's just one more match, let's just stay for it. So maybe they came to see that one person, but maybe they'll come back to see the rest of your roster now. You know, when you have new guys like that, I think it's important to put your ego aside. I know a lot of guys like to be the grizzled veteran and say, well, they haven't earned their spot. Maybe they haven't, but those people paid to see your show. Don't let them leave over some stupid grizzled veteran rule. I think that's shooting yourself in the foot, basically. And I mean, there's just so many little things here and there that come up when you're running a show, little problems You just got to take it all in, put things in perspective, and remember why you're doing this in the first place. Whether it's money, whether it's fun, whatever the case is, go back to that and remember, hey, I'm in this for this reason. Let's not stress about the small stuff, because nothing will go perfectly. Nothing will go exactly like you want it. You just have to make the best of every situation. Because independent professional wrestling, and it can be exciting and fun, and you just need to make it that. There's so many good guys out there and girls, and there's so much talent out there, and it's such an exciting landscape that if you don't look at independent professional wrestling and get excited, you're doing this for the wrong reasons. Be sure to join us. We put out new videos every single Tuesday. If you like this video, beat the shit out of the like button. Subscribe to this channel for new videos every single week, and I'll see you next time.